All right, hello kids. This is Adam Morhhauser again. It's December 12th, and we're finally come out of that cold snap, and today is the best day we've had probably in about 10 days. I got a letter with some questions from the Journey Elementary kids, and I'll just go over a few of the questions you guys had. One was, how do you prepare for winter, or make sure you're prepared for winter? And number one thing we always make sure to be prepared is make sure we got the right fuel in our tractors, because that's the main thing we use every day to feed the cows and stuff. So we want to make sure the right diesel in there. If you have a number 2 diesel in there, it can gel your tractor up in there. The diesel will actually freeze a little bit, plug in your filters and your fuel lines, and you don't want that. So you got to put a little fuel additive in it, or else switch to a number 1 or a 50-50 blend of number 1 and number 2 diesel. I can go into it quite a bit, but that's the main gist of it. Just make sure your tractors are running good. And then the other thing is plugging your tractors in, make sure the block heater, so these diesel engines are a little hard starting when it gets really cold. So we got to make sure we plug them in at night, so the engine block heater will warm up the whole engine block, the whole engine in there, so it'll start easier in the morning. And also the other thing is, make sure our waters have the heaters on, because we don't want to have frozen water pipes out here and frozen stock fountains for the cattle to drink out of. It's very important to make sure the heaters are functioning right, so that the water stays warm and it stays flowing. You don't want to be out here fixing a broken water pipe when it's 30 below. So those are a few of the main things we want to be prepared in this winter. Another thing is, when it was so cold this last week, we also want to make sure the cows are comfortable. Besides, I was giving them the feed and stuff, a little extra feed, and then I was actually putting a corn stalk bale out there every night for them to pick through. They pick out the good stuff, and then they lay down. They need something a little warmer to lay down on than the snow on the ground and stuff, just so they stay warm and comfortable. Otherwise, they like to stand, and it's pretty stressful on them. So I like to make sure they're pretty comfortable out here. Another question you guys had was, do I have dairy or beef cows? Well, they're all beef cows. I did milk cows when I was in college for somebody by Baltic there, just for a little extra spending money while I was in college. So, but no, we raise all beef cows. They're black Angus cows, and I have a few black white face cows in there, and those are Hereford cross. A Hereford and a black cow cross will give you a black white face cow. So that's what we run out here. Just to tell you for the cows. Another one was, what do we do all winter long? Well, for one, right now we'll be feeding cows until about the middle part of May. So we got 5 months of feeding the cattle here. So we want to make sure we got enough hay and enough feed for those to make it through till May. Another thing what we do this time of year is, you got to do your year-end taxes to see how you're sitting there. And also, you also have a lot. You can go to cattle sales, or sales around, or also for an organization you belong to, like the Cattlemen's Association. They have meetings this week here. They had meetings in Pierre, and also there's meetings about all the time for different various organizations that you're in. So there's a lot of stuff to do during the winter. It's when they usually have their winter meetings. So you can pick out a meeting about every week if you wanted to, and go to that. For today, I'm going to show you what we feed these cows. I have a sheet here of what we feed. The batch sheet here is what we call. We go through and we sample all our feed stuff. We're feeding oat silage here, and then I have some old hay from last year yet, and some alfalfa hay from this year that we baled, and then some corn stalks. And we grind them all up. Show you that we grind them up so we can mix them into the feed wagon and make it easier to mix and form the feed, because we only need so much of each ingredient in there to come up with a balanced ration. And I'll just show you what we have for a ration on here of corn stalks. Well, let me first tell you what we go through, kind of the most important things. The dry matter on there, we kind of want to keep it in the 60s like that. And the protein, I like to keep it over 10% protein on there. And then the other one is the energy on here, which is 52 megacals. We like to make sure it's up there for kind of a maintenance right now. Once they start milking, we'll probably move that up to about a 54 megacal on there. So that's that's what we do to get a balanced ration. Those are the three things I look at anyway. And on this sheet here is our batch sheet of how much of each ingredient we need to put on there. So here's our oatlage, the first column there. 35% of 100% is going to be the oatlage. So we need 15.5 pounds per head. Mixed grass hay, that's the old hay that I have, a little over 7 pounds. The alfalfa hay, 9.3 pounds. The corn stalks, 12.4 pounds. That's per head. So the total feed intake is 44 pounds. And we come down here, this is the number of head over here. But we have 152, so I just take 152 times each one of those individual ones, and that's why I come up with down here of 2355 for the oatlage that we're feeding per day, 1,080 on the mixed grass hay per day, 1415 for the alfalfa, and then 1885 for the corn stalks. So that gives us a total ration for the day of 6735 pounds. Well, that all can't fit my feed wagon, so I divide that by 3 because that's what I know can fit my feed wagon. And that comes out to be the 2245. And the bottom line down there is what I have, is what I put in there for each time I mix it up 3 times. So that's what it comes out to be. Now we're grinding hay here. Put the bale in the tub grinder here and it grinds it out, shreds it up a little bit in smaller particles, so it's a little easier for the cows to chew, and also it's a little easier to mix when you put it in a feed wagon because you don't need a whole total bale, and that's why we do that, to helps even your feed out a little bit for a total ration. The way the tub grinder works is you put the bale in there and it pulls it down. It pulls the hay off of there. And then there's hammers underneath that blow it through a screen. The screen has holes that are, I don't know how big in diameter, 3-4 inches in diameter. It blows through there, and that's how it breaks the hay up into smaller particles. And it comes out the conveyor belt in a pile. Now it's just a little dusty over there, so you probably can't see the pile good enough, but that's the way the tub grinder works. Like I said, we just do it just because we don't need a whole bale, and when we feed, we just want to mix in some silage, some hay, some corn stalks, and some old hay here for these cows. And like I said, I don't need a whole bale each time I feed them. And plus, some of this older hay and the corn stalks I like to blend in there, mix it in, so the cows will eat it. So it's a little. So I got some older hay that's just a little poorer quality, and this just mixes in a lot easier and makes them eat it. This is what the ground alfalfa looks like right here. This is what our ground corn stalks look like right here. This is our oat silage right here. That's what it looks like. It's kind of wet. It's about 66% moisture.